It's too good. It has been a while. Shall we run this intro? Let's do it. Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whichever applies to you. Welcome back. If you are new here, my name is Julia. I'm a contemporary singing specialist based in Australia, and today I am returning to the wonderful voice of Lara Fabian. This is Caruso. Let's get into it.
Qui dove il mare luccica e dove tira forte il vento, su una vecchia terrazza davanti al golfo di Sorrento, un uomo abbraccia una ragazza dopo che aveva pianto, poi si schiarisce la voce e ricomincia il canto. Te voglio bene assai, ma tanto bene sai, è una catena ormai che scioglie il sangue di te. Le luci in mezzo al mare, le sole notti là in America, erano solo le lampare, la bianca scia di un'elica. Senti il dolore nella musica.
Oh, so I'm just stopping there because there was something interesting in her choice that she made then. It sounds cool, but it stuck out to me. She like slightly tightened the sound on one of the words. I'd have to go back and see which one it is, but oh my goodness, Lara Fabian is just this perfect joining of artistic decision making and the technique to navigate all of that artistic decision making. It just makes my heart so happy listening to singers like this. And I know I said that the first time I broke down her voice with the Je suis malade reaction, which was ages ago. But because I haven't listened to her in a little while, the moment I go back, it's like I get to revisit all of these amazing feelings that just wind up in my stomach and making me feel amazing just listening to her. So off the top of my head, and I'll go back to point them out or I'll get Caption Julia to insert them. Her phrasing has always stood out to me as something quite masterful. She's pulling you with the tension of time in her phrasing, and tension is the thing that makes something interesting. It makes a song engaging without tension being built in. There's a few different ways we can build it, but without it being built, the movement of emotion and the movement of the music, it will start to feel stilted. So when you're listening to the phrasing in the beginning, where it feels like she's just chucking words out. They're moving very quickly and then she'll slow down at the end of the phrase. If you were to sing the phrasing as she is doing it with perfect subdivision, it might actually sound robotic. And that's what I mean by she pulls you through the time. She is playing with time. Because you could have perfect time with her phrasing choices in the beginning and it would sound more robotic. And then you have what she's doing where she's just pulling us either side of where that perfect subdivision would be. And it's like she's drawing you through that phrase until we settle into something that's a little bit more comfortable, a little bit more elongated at the end of the phrase. So I want us to have a little listen to that so you can see what I'm talking about. So their very fast articulation pattern on some of those words, and she's speeding up and then slows it down. And she will do this a few times per phrase and then give you these fantastic legato lines. The freedom in her sound when she is sustaining just makes my heart soar. The freedom in her sustains requires a couple of things. One is the shaping that she is making within her pharynx so that she can get the color that she wants. The second is a perfect balance between her breath flow and her vocal folds and the shape of the pharynx. So think of the things within the vocal tract as elements which can stop breath flow Vocal folds coming together can stop breath flow. Pharyngeal tension, squeezing, can stop breath flow. And so you're making these minor adjustments both to the vocal fold mass, the amount of contact, and the amount of squeeze or impedance in the pharynx. You may need more, you may need less, but there are these small changes in breath pressure that are happening to facilitate these decisions that she's making. So that's what I mean by creatively, artistically, she's building tension by drawing us through time in the way that I described earlier, by pulling us either side of what would be a perfect subdivision, subdivision meaning a perfect execution or division of time. And then you have the technique, those adjustments just so good. It's so good. And then, of course, just in the back of my mind, the moment the music started, I love a dramatic ballad. I love a dramatic ballad. So this is just making me so unbelievably happy. Of course, there's a million other things that I could probably break down just in this first section. That's not even hyperbole, but I feel like there'll probably be more to talk about, and I would like to break down other things perhaps in more detail later into this reaction analysis. So let's keep going, and I'll get Caption Julia to point out that little word that was a little bit different.
Che scioglie il sangue di te vene, sai. Le luci in mezzo al mare, le sole notti là in America. Erano solo le lampare, la bianca scia di...
There, that kind of came through the nose a little. How cool is that? She's like shifting it from mostly coming through the mouth to mostly through the nose. And I don't know if that's just how the word is pronounced, if that's just part of the pronunciation, but it sticks out. It sticks out. It's like subtly nasality, tight squeezed. It's really cool.
in America. Erano solo le lampare, la bianca scia di un'elica. Senti il dolore nella musica, si alzò dal piano forte. Ma quando vide la luna uscire dalla nuvola, gli sembrò più dolce anche la morte. Guardo negli occhi la ragazza, le occhi verdi come il mare. Poi all'improvviso uscì una lacrima e lui credette di affogare.
It's too good. It's too good. Are you kidding me? Legato with a straight tone at a quieter dynamic, just perfectly balanced like that. I know that it seems simple and that it probably feels like I'm overreacting, but she's just gone from phrasing where she's using all manner of constriction, including distortion. And she's coming out of that and creating this perfectly sweet tone at a quieter dynamic. Like, that tension thing I mentioned earlier with the dynamics, yeah, that's another thing you can play with in order to make something more meaningful, more engaging, for it to feel like the music is drawing you in. So she's being so musically expressive, and I feel like ballads are just, gosh, she ticks so many of the ballad boxes because it is so easy to make a ballad boring as heck. So easy, too easy to make ballads boring. This is... Like I said the first time, masterclass. It's a masterclass. Let's listen to that again. We can hear that distortion. We can hear that agility. So again, something within the vocal tract is impeding that breath flow so that we get that kind of staticky sound in her quality. She's also a little bit heavier at the vocal fold level, tiny bit of tongue root pulling back to darken that sound quality. Sheesh.
Poi all'improvviso uscì una lacrima e lui credette di affogare.
Quieter dynamic. Hear how much she pulled back and then swelled into that sustain? My God. I love these choices. I love her voice. God, she's an absolute weapon. I'm going to keep going now. Wait, no, one last thing. Would it even be a Julia reaction if I didn't have one little added thing to do? I really like how she's using her breath as part of the portrayal of the song she is trying to sing. Sometimes when you hear an artist just like breathing like that, you get this like sound that's coming through. This feels so deliberate on her end. Like it truly, truly does feel like part of the story that she is trying to tell. It doesn't sound like an oversight in technique. I would be shocked. So oversight of technique is definitely not what I picture when I think of Lara Fabian's sound. If anything, it is damn near close to perfect. I mean, to me, and I say damn near because obviously there's going to be some people's personal preference who don't vibe with the sound that she makes. I personally do a lot. I very much vibe with this. Let's keep going. I'm not going to stop it for a little while again because otherwise we'll be here forever.
Le occhi verdi come il mare, poi all'improvviso uscì una lacrima e lui credette di affogare. Te voglio bene assai, ma tanto bene sai, è una catena ormai che scioglie il sangue di te bene sai. La potenza della lirica, dove ogni dramma è un falso, che con un po' di trucco e con la mimica, sai, puoi anche diventare un altro. Così diventa tutto piccolo, anche le sole notti là in America. Ti volti e vedi la tua vita come la scia di un'elica.
I know I said I wouldn't stop it for a while, but sheesh, did we just hear how quickly she went from speech into singing? If anything, that is a perfect demonstration of just how close singing is to speech, particularly contemporary singing. Contemporary singing is, you're starting off from a speech register. So it is so useful to feel like you can go from something that is very speechy into something that is pitched, because often the mechanism, the setup is very similar for a contemporary vocalist. In this case, she is going straight from very fast speech, purely speech pitches, and then she is pitching for the song. So she's coordinating between those two things with very similar mechanism setup. If you're not sure what I mean by mechanism, I'm talking about what her vocal folds are doing. So mechanism 1 tends to be full fold contact, top to bottom. And this is something that she is demonstrating just over and over again in that passage, including the inclusion of vocal fry, which is something that sneaks into a lot of our modern day speech, but we wind up down on the fry just a little bit. But we can hear this little crackly pop sound from where the vocal folds are very close together, only a tiny bit of air is bubbling through. God, she moves between these things so easily. I gotta keep going.
Te voglio bene assai, ma tanto bene sai, è una catena ormai che scioglie il sangue di te bene sai.
Bravo. Thank you. Very nice acknowledgement of the piano player there too. I have goosebumps. Goosebumps. It's one thing to belt, okay? It's one thing to belt, which is generally a higher laryngeal position, a higher breath pressure, longer vocal fold adduction activity, adduction meaning closed, that kind of activity. It's one thing to be able to belt. It is another thing to be able to have such mastery of that belt that you navigate the amount of space and weight and intensity and distortion at the same time. Like, so many people, I feel, when they start to belt, they're like, I just want to make a loud sound. It's like, okay, but what does the loud sound mean? What is it communicating? What is the point of it? The function of a loud, powerful sound, at least to me, and what I understand to kind of be the point of it with a lot of contemporary singing, is for it to convey intense emotion. And if you have the one tone at the same dynamic, it will still convey emotional intention because loudness tends to do that for us as humans, whether it's good emotion, positive emotion, negative emotion, sadness, anger, like all of these baseline emotions that we have. Different dynamics will convey those things to us, but her dynamic choices to me convey that she is actually on an emotional journey. She's not hitting us in one spot and then holding it there, because she's moving through her dynamics, because she's including other textures. In one moment there, her belting actually became very close to being pressed. Pressed is actually something that you would typically avoid. In her case, she pulls back from it, which tells me that sounds deliberate to me. It's not in all of her belting. It was in one moment. And I do believe it was actually for the focus of creating some high compression distortion, which is one way that you can get distortion in your sound. So the risk of it, the vocal folds almost coming together and pressing too much, which is where the fold closure is so aggressive that you wind up with harsher overtones in some ways. Lots of kids who belt too soon, too young, too high, they will become pressed a little bit easier. And for beginner belters who just like are pumping so much breath pressure through very tight vocal folds, they'll get pressed phonation or this tighter, more constricted sound. But for her, she's traveling through it. She's bringing in this distortion, that risk, that sense of compression, that sense of press, a little bit almost. This takes us on that emotional journey, because I feel like the story that she's expressing is not one that is always meant to feel easy. It is not one that is meant to feel good. It is almost on the edge of pain, on the edge of the uncomfortable. And I get that in buckets from how she is choosing to deliver in that last section of the song. Like, just I lose my breath listening to Lara Fabian sing, because her choices, whether they are deliberate or not deliberate, whether she's just following her artistic gut and knows she's got the instrument that can hack it. That's the other thing. She's got stamina in spades for this kind of thing. This is one song in a whole show, I'm fairly certain. It looks like it's the same setup from Je suis malade. So you know she's packing a punch in so many of these big belting, emotionally intense ballads that are lasting, 5 minutes. 5 minutes is actually a really long time to be singing. So she's got to have the stamina for maintaining what she needs at a vocal level, but also the breathing and the abdominal support necessary to sustain that kind of sound. I'm dead. I'm dead. Just listening to her blows my mind. It's like, how can one human navigate all of these things? And I could bang on about other stuff such as articulation choices, color changes, but how she chose to belt that at the end there. We have sustains, we have different textures, we have emotional intensity and the movement through that emotional journey from her dynamic choices, even as she goes into that first belt. Lost it at how she balanced that. I can't. Part of the reason why I can't handle it is because people will spend forever trying to be able to do what she has done. Just from a technical standpoint, that is so well practiced. It feels like an extension of who she must be as an artist. Like, it just sounds too easy. She is making it seem too easy, and I promise you, it is not. It is really not. And that is probably why there are very few singers that I have heard that are similar to what Lara Fabian brings to a power ballad. So I guess that checks out. But yeah, no, just a heads up. She's making this seem a hell of a lot easier than it actually is. A hell of a lot easier. Anyway, I think I might leave that there. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. My love for Lara Fabian is completely, it never went away, but the fires are burning. I really need to listen to more of her now. I've got other videos to film, but now. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like. If you want more, you can subscribe. But other than that, I hope you're staying safe. I hope you're staying healthy. And I will see you in the next one. Bye. It is hot. Real position, higher breath pressure. I just feel like, oh my god, have I forgotten how to do this? Sheesh. Emotions like what she's expression, like, yay, Australian summer. It's not even summer yet, and the heat is already killing me. Okay.